Anime Boiz.
What's up, everybody? We've got another episode of Anime Boiz coming at you. This time we're talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So, before we get into it, Casey, just a real quick yes or no. Did you like this one?
Yep.
Good. I was really, really hoping so. So, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was created by Hirohiko Araki. Apologies for any bad pronunciations there. It was published in Shonen Jump, the manga, but then Viz Media picked it up for the anime adaptation. The manga started in 1987, and as of August 2023, it has 132 volumes, making it one of the longest running mangas of all time. So, I've just got one fun fact. I don't know if you have any, Casey.
We actually talked about the fun fact already.
Which one?
Don't worry, we'll get into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Araki is a big fan of Western music, and therefore, and like you would know this just by watching it, but many of the characters and the stands in the show are named after musicians or songs. Which I think is hilarious, especially since I watched the subs. I love hearing just a deep, burly Japanese voice saying Speedwagon and stuff like that. It's hilarious. So, but that's my fun fact.
So this is just like, I don't know if anyone listening, because I know Jake doesn't remember Shaman King, but Shaman King was an anime that was on. It was a shonen and manga, and it was also on 4Kids TV when we were younger. And basically, the person just ripped off JoJo, and he's admitted it. He's like, he ripped off the ideas that were in JoJo, and then added in basically video game mechanics. That was all the rage at the time with shonen. So with Pokemon, where it's back and forth, or Yu-Gi-Oh, back and forth, same exact thing. It's yep, we're adding this mechanic, and that's the only difference.
Yep. Which is fine. It made everything cool at that time. So
yeah.
Okay, so real quick, the opener. Personally, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's in my opinion, a shitty version of Cowboy Bebop's opener.
Yeah. The animation and stuff is really cool for it, but the song just sucks.
Yeah.
And then I'll say it now because I'll forget after we're talking about episodes, but the closer is just the song Roundabout by the band Yes, and I like that song. I think it slaps.
Oh yeah, no, I love the closer a lot, so I'm all about that.
Yeah, and again, it just leans into Araki liking 1970s bands from the West. So, so the cast, I just did Jotaro, Joseph Joestar, and Dio. But Jotaro is voiced by Daisuke, or Daisuke, however you want to pronounce it, Ono. Joseph Joestar is played by Unsho Ishizuka, and Dio by Takehito Koyasu. All great voices. And I have heard the dub version as well, and I think that it's fine.
Yeah, I thought it was perfectly good.
Mm-hmm. So, we'll get into the first episode here. And upon any rewatches, I skip this first episode for one part. Casey already knows what it is because when we were recording the normal episode earlier, I talked about how much I didn't like watching animals get injured. So essentially, there's an Englishman. His name is George Joestar. He mistakenly assumes Dario Brando had saved his life during a carriage accident and decides to adopt his son Dio. And then his actual son and heir to the Joestar estate is Jonathan Joestar, who attempts to befriend Dio. But Dio is just a real motherfucker. And his
Just the biggest piece of shit on the planet.
Yeah, he is pure evil.
Yeah.
His whole plan from the get-go is to drive JoJo to madness and earn George's trust so that essentially he can take over the Joestar family fortune. So Dio does shit like beat the crap out of JoJo in a boxing match. He turns all of his friends against him. He steals his girlfriend's first kiss.
Yeah, he just straight up assaulted her in front of in front of his friends.
And then the actual worst part, burns JoJo's dog Danny in an incinerator. So I just even fucking hate talking about that. But
yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing, and I'm not even saying this to be like a tough guy. If you burn my dog in an incinerator and you're living in the same house as me, I'm gonna be waiting until you go to sleep. I'm tying you up and cutting off pieces of you.
Yep. It's awful. It's awful. A funny little thing. My friend Nick really several years ago tried to get me to watch JoJo, and we're watching this first episode together, and you can kind of tell what Dio's gonna do with Danny. And I turn to Nick and I'm like, if he kills that dog, I'm not watching another episode of this. And after he dies, I actually didn't watch another episode for until this last year. Not because of that reason. I just didn't. But that always makes me laugh.
I will say, so there's one part where before the dog is dead, JoJo is feeding Ariana gave him grapes. He's like eating grapes and he's tossing some to his dog. Don't feed your dog grapes. It will kill it.
Yeah.
That's just a fun fact. Like JoJo, like maybe the dog was going to die no matter because of JoJo's poor dog ownership.
But yeah, I think it's a really good first episode. It shows that Dio's a piece of shit, how evil a bad guy he's going to be.
Showed how dramatic this show is going to be. Like, this show is very much like it's like a cross between a soap opera and then like also like when you tell a toddler no and they're like that's basically this show, and it's hilarious.
It is very funny. And I think, it starts off really strong with just the carriage accident. It's just like, oh my gosh, I'm invested already. So, anything to add about episode 1?
JoJo's dad's a fucking twat. It's just like JoJo, look at your adopted brother. He's so much better than you. What are you doing, you idiot? It's like, dude, it's not a good way of teaching. It's like, hey, I saw you beat the shit out of him after, and you just kept going. Well, he pulled a knife out. You're going to your room. Dio, you want to come to my room? I don't know if that's what he said, but
it's not.
I know. But yeah, like, hate Dio. Just and then there's one part too where Bully stole the Ariana's doll, and they're like, let's strip it down, see if it's got naked parts. It's like, what are you guys doing?
No, it's so stupid. All right, then episode 2. Time jumps ahead 7 years since Dio came to the Joestar estate. Their dad, George, is shown to be sick in bed. At first, they think it's like a common cold or something like that, but then it just keeps getting worse. Jonathan then learns uh, that Dio killed his own father, Dario, and he's trying to use that same poison that he's disguising as medicine to kill George. So Jonathan confronts Dio about it and goes to London to look for the origin of the poison, not knowing what secret little thing awaits there. So, pretty funny episode. I like how it starts with like the rugby match or whatever, and the whole enemy team is trying to tackle Joseph, but he's just doing the slow crawl,
Yeah.
dragging all the guys with him. But
And
then
like
of
him and
course
Dio are good buddies now, but then they're not.
yeah,
The dramatic, like that's one of the things I wrote down. Like I really wish that you and me could talk on a podcast like they do, like where they'll be like, I can't believe that you just said, like that type of shit. It's so funny.
it is
So
funny.
stupid.
Also, like, and like we've mentioned it before, and even on like the last episode with Christian, when we were talking about watching this show, all of the men are just drawn so beefy, and it's hilarious. So like
Yeah.
these guys are just in high school or whatever, and they're just absolute fucking beefcakes. So it's funny to look at them compared to like their classmates.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add?
Oh, then we had, JoJo gets jumped by the weird London gang members, and that was pretty funny too.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
like they jumped him and he just kicks the shit out of them, and then like he kicks the shit out of like two of them, and then then it's like, hey, this guy, he didn't hurt me too bad. I want to be his friend. Yeah, like that was it. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm surprised I didn't write anything down about that, but yeah, that is a very funny part. Um, all right. So in episode 3, JoJo finds an antidote and goes to give it to his father. He also is going to turn Dio into the police. I thought the confrontation was kind of weird, by the way. It's just
Oh, it's so
like,
dumb.
it's like, how could you? How could you do that to our father? It's police time. It's like, dude, he's killed your dog. He's trying to kill your dad. Like, fuck this guy up.
Yeah. Well, I love too when Dio's like, I want you to take me in it. It's like I just want the cops to be like, that's not how this works, you idiots. We're the police.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. Anyway, Dio tries to get JoJo's guard down by saying he's going to turn himself in. Uh. But good guy Speedwagon shows up, and he followed JoJo from London. Sees right through Dio's lies because he knows that kind of shady guy, right?
What I wrote down, because when he introduced himself, he's like, my name's Speedwagon, Robert E.O. I'm like, REO Speedwagon. Fuck you.
See, dude, I was just dying. I think it's hilarious. So fucking funny. Um, but yeah, then Speedwagon presents the apothecary or whatever who sold Dio the poison. And then, George reveals that he heard everything. So JoJo attempts to handcuff Dio. Then Dio attempts to stab him because Dio's a piece of shit, only to stab George, who got in the way to protect JoJo. And then with Daddy George's blood, he activates the pretty dope looking stone mask on himself before the police just light him up. But then, in annoying classic George fashion, before he dies, he tells his son not to blame Dio because Dio's only doing this because he didn't have a father. And it's like bullshit.
Yeah.
He had
No.
you. um, yeah.
So couple things I wrote down, and this was really funny because I actually did a little bit of research for this joke. because it's always just a joke line. Robert can't fight this feeling that Dio is evil.
Bravo.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that one. And then here's a line, like a line that I wrote down that I was like, I like this, but also it's like, what the hell, man? Speedwagon says this, like, rich folks are rubbish. They want to throw the whole lot into the Tims, but not the Joe Stars. They're heroic and merciful, and the whole lot are giants among men. It's like, dude, fucking calm down. You just met them.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you've been here for one day.
Yeah. Like, you literally just hopped out of the shadows after getting your butt kicked. Like, come on, bud.
But yeah, then it was at this point that I really started to like this show, because Dio, through the stone mask, comes back to life after being lit up by the police as a vampire, because that's what the mask does. You put it on, drop some blood, it like shink into your head, turns you into a vampire. So yeah, JoJo then tries to fight Dio, believing he can beat him by destroying his brain. And then like the cops start reanimating the zombies. But that's no trouble for JoJo. JoJo can kill a fucking zombie. They just keep trying to kill Dio over and over and failing. Then JoJo sets the mansion on fire, the dummy, and leads Dio up to the roof so Speedwagon can escape. Then JoJo tries to take out Dio with like a suicide attack, dragging him into the flames. And then I think that's when Dio like falls and gets impaled on a spike or something like that.
Yeah.
Or on a statue, it is.
Yeah, because it was like they were falling, and then like Dio escaped JoJo. JoJo was about to go to his death, and he caught himself on like a weapon he already used, and he took off his belt and caught him with it.
Which is so fucking silly.
It is. It's so dumb. I loved it.
And then the final bit of the episode, the apothecary, whose name is Wang Chan, tries to grab the mask from like the ruins of the mansion, but then, you know, Dio's hand comes up and you see his red eye glowing in the rubble, and just drains all of Wang's blood.
He sucks that wing dry.
He sure does. This is a cool episode. I mean, I like all the animation of the show, but this is like you see fights before, but not quite to the level of like fighting Vampire Dio for the first time. So this is when I first started making notes about how good the animation was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add for that episode?
No, I mean, it's the big thing was just Speedwagon. Like, holy shit, bud. That's so funny.
Yeah. All right. So episode 4. So Jonathan is recovering from his fight with Dio. He spends the next few days with his long lost childhood romance, Arena, who came back to take care of his injuries. And while they're out for a walk, a hilarious character named Will Antonio Zeppeli appears and heals Jonathan's broken arm.
In the funniest way possible.
Yeah.
Just rears back and hits him right in the stomach.
It is so funny. But yeah, it's with Haman, which is it's just the Deus Ex Machina, essentially. It's whatever they need it to be. But anyway, Zeppeli warns Jonathan that Dio is still alive and kicking, and the only way to defeat him and the Stone Mask is through an old fighting technique known as the Ripple. So Zeppeli spends a few days training Jonathan, and soon after that, Jonathan, Zeppeli, and Speedwagon set off to this town called Wind Knight's Lot, which is where Dio is. And on the way there, they encounter Jack the Ripper, who's been turned into a zombie, Um, makes a pretty cool appearance, I think, in that tunnel. And yeah, and then Jonathan learns the secret of ripple overdrive. So that was pretty cool to watch too. But I like it. I like the zombie and vampire stuff that's happening there. So um, yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah. I just like I this is just really funny. I mean, so it's a breathing technique that they have to do, and I put down like Demon Slayer's got some explaining to do.
I know, right? Kind of
uh,
makes you wonder.
yeah. And then I have my quote is in this part, so I won't talk about that. But yeah, he just rears back and hits JoJo and just knocks the wind out of him. It's like, oh, his arm, and JoJo's like, oh, my arm, it's better.
Yeah.
um, yeah, and then at the beginning we also see like there was this funny part where they're like the narrator's like, ah, Jack the Ripper is causing all sorts of craziness. Nothing compared to what Dio and JoJo are going through. It's like, really? I think the hookers disagree, but who knows? And then yeah, Dio mind controlled Jack. Yeah, that's about all I got for that one too.
All right, episode 5. So they're on their way to Win Knight's lot, and the group encounters this kid named Poco, who attempts to steal their luggage. And then I got a good kick out of this, but um, Zeppeli goes to catch him by using Haman and the Ripple to run over water, and he just looks so fucking goofy when he's running over the water. I think he's such a funny character.
And then like first off, JoJo's outfit is fucking hilarious. It's this like it's a pink sweater vest with a bow tie and like this weird little hat thing. But then while he's like JoJo's running on the water too, and Zeppeli's like, your shoes are getting wet. Up the hormones, so it's just not as bad. It's like, oh my God.
I know, he's like, you should really be thinking about your wardrobe.
Yeah. So funny.
So yeah, Poco is pretty easily captured, and then they soon realize that he was also not also, he's just under hypnosis, and was bait to lure them into the graveyard. And then when nighttime comes, we get this, very dramatic re-entrance of Dio, which is pretty cool. He's pretty much all healed up from his mansion battle. He gets some new powers too. He's able to like summon zombies now, which is pretty cool. They're defeated by Zeppeli and Jonathan via the Ripple, but then Zeppeli's like, "You're not ready for this, Jonathan. I'll handle Dio." But then another one of my like favorite animation parts comes up. Zeppeli tries to do the overdrive move on Dio, but Dio just grabs his hand and uses his ability to lower the body temperature and freezes his own hand along with Zeppeli's. So he's just got this frozen arm that he can't do shit with. So he can't use the Ripple, and then gets really severely injured. So Jonathan jumps in on the defense, but then he and Zeppeli are pretty much just get their asses kicked this episode, if I'm honest. Dio decides that it's pointless for him to continue fighting, so he summons two undead legendary people buried in this graveyard, Tarkus and Bruford. Then Dio allows Bruford to fight Jonathan, and the two of them start their battle. It's a cool episode. It's a really cool episode.
So at the beginning, something you didn't mention, they're gonna awaken Speedwagon's hormone, and he just gets hit, and it doesn't do anything. It just hooks him up.
I forgot about that. It's so funny.
And then after his arm gets all messed up. Speedwagon's like, I know the best way to warm up. He like shows his abs, like puts his arm on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you guys are gonna end up kissing. I already know it.
um. All right. Moving on. Unless you've got anything else.
Oh, there was one part where the zombie was gonna attack JoJo, and Bruford just ripped its nose off and killed the zombie. I was like, Bruford's got the zombie's nose.
All right. So in episode 6. All right. So Bruford, he avoids, like he and JoJo are going at it. JoJo tries the underwater overdrive, but Bruford avoids it and uh, grabs JoJo by his hair. I thought that was kind of funny. But then JoJo does a pretty cool move where he blocks Bruford's attack and then channels an overdrive through a kick into Bruford's sword, which causes one of his arms to disintegrate. And then from there, Jonathan's able to escape and unleashes his sunlight yellow overdrive against him. Then, as Bruford's body starts to disintegrate, he regains like his human soul, finally feeling at peace, and leaves JoJo his sword before completely disintegrating. I thought that whole scene was pretty cool. I like the underwater stuff. And just, I don't know, I like a good soiled knight redeems himself a little bit story.
Yeah, because you did kind of gloss over the part when JoJo just was like, I'm just gonna let him hit me if you know, like when he was like kind of good. And then that's kind of when he was like, oh, you believed in me that I saw it good and all that stuff too.
Right. Yeah.
And then yeah, he gives JoJo his lucky sword, but then he like puts the P, so it's like his plucky sword.
um yeah, then Tarkus attacks. But JoJo and Zeppeli manage to get Speedwagon and Poco to safety using a bunch of leaves as a hand glider. And as they make their escape, Zeppeli talks about how he learned to control the ripple from a man named Tom Petty. Oh god, I just
So
love
dumb.
it. I know, I love it. So yeah, Tarkus goes after him, causing them to touch down at like this night training ground in order to fight him. Tarkus manages to crash into one of the outer walls and enters the training grounds first. JoJo is pulled inside the grounds, thrusting him into a chain neck death match, which is where one of them must decapitate the other in order to free himself.
But it's so not fair because it's like it's really just who's the fattest is gonna win because it's just you got a chain wrapped around both your neck and it's going up to the ceiling and it's pulling. So it's just like, yeah, I just want the big fatso, and
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. But then we get, Poco gets his little time to shine here. He realizes that JoJo's going to get killed and no one does anything. So he overcomes his nerves and goes into the training grounds through a window, managing to unlock the door so that Zeppeli can get inside and help out. So
it was funny though with Zeppeli like that. Like because he's like trying to knock the door open, but he can't because it's this thick metal door. He's like, I can split stones, but I can't do this. The wall next to it's made of stones.
Yeah.
Split the wall, bud.
Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but whenever he splits the stone for the first time, he looks like he's just gonna smash this fucking frog.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, can you imagine? It's like that's how you're gonna display your power, is killing a frog.
You text Nick again, you're like, if he kills this frog.
If he kills this fucking frog,
I am done. And he's just like, just watch.
But yeah, it was a good episode. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to this one.
The castle is full of booby traps, and I put booby traps aren't near as awesome as they sound.
Also, does Poco piss himself?
Yeah, he pisses himself, and then he thinks back to when he was getting bullied by three, like I think it was like three kids, and then his sister comes up and just smacks him, like, "Don't let yourself get bullied." It's like I don't think you have a choice in being bullied by three people that
Yeah.
are bigger than you. It's like, "Hey guys, stop it!" And they're like, "Okay." He said, "Guys," he said, "Stop it." I thought this was just fun for all of us, but guess not.
um, but yeah, that's the first 6 episodes of JoJo. Um, On to our awards.
Yeah, man.
Memorable animation.
So the end of episode 6. I've seen that picture like parodied so many times, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. Just to be different, I'll say like the fights are good early on, but then when Haman gets introduced, they obviously get better. So for the sake of being different, I'll just say the graveyard fight with Dio and Zeppeli is pretty fucking cool.
Right on. What are
Memorable
your
line.
memorable line? I'll pull that up really quick because I did write it down. So this would have been in episode 4, and it's not funny. Normally I go with something silly, but it's the harsh wind blowing down off of the Arctic Ocean birthed the fearsome Vikings. Only when we are tossed headlong into the crucible of adversity do we rise to the challenge. What would a glass of vino create this night?
Yeah, I
Fucking
like that.
rad. Fucking rad. What about you?
Mine is a conversation with Dio, but I think it goes pretty hard. I forget who it is. Maybe Zeppeli or Speedwagon is like, blah blah blah. How many innocent lives have you taken? And Dio, just cool as a clam, is like, I don't know. How many loaves of bread have you eaten in your life? And it's just like, damn.
Yeah. It's like, not that many. I'm keto.
All right, who we shipping?
For me, it's gonna be Speedwagon and Zeppeli. You know that they're gonna be getting it on. What about you?
uh Man, I don't know. I mean, really, there's only one actual couple, and that's Arena and Joseph. So I guess I'll go with that.
Yeah. Who's the coolest character?
Oh, gosh. Dude, this one's so tough. This one's so tough. I'll probably, for the first 6 episodes, I'll say Zeppeli.
I'm going Danny.
Yeah, Danny. That's a good answer. Did it age well?
I'd say yeah. What about
Yeah,
you?
it does for sure. The art style is so unique, and I know that some people aren't a fan, but like that's kind of the whole point, I
Yeah.
think. So yeah, I think that style, whether it's 1987 or it's 2023, like that, you get what you get, and it's good.
Yeah.
Um, will you continue watching it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, same. I've watched probably close to 20 episodes, and it just gets better with each arc. I really like it. Um, all right, so now on to the TARS. Where are you rating this one, dude?
I'm gonna go number 3, right under HMS team.
Okay, knocks down Space Dandy.
It was almost number 2. I'm like just thinking between the two, but
It is my number 2, I think. I think once I finish it, I'll probably like it more than Demon Slayer, but I just haven't seen enough of it yet.
I gotcha.
Um, Man, that makes this the 10th one we've watched, by the way, where
You know.
it feels good to have like proper lists at this point.
Yeah. All right, dude. Do you happen to have like a let's just go with like a 8-sided die and no, let's just do two 20-sided die. You have like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, just do like a couple rolls and then we'll just try to I'll figure out what we're watching after you tell me the numbers you get.
Okay, first D20 roll is a 5.
Okay.
Second one is a 16.
Okay.
What else do you need?
Just do one more.
Okay. 13.
Okay, so one of the choices is Bobo, and I don't want to do the Kiss anime, so I'm just gonna not do that one. And so yeah, we're gonna go with between 13 and 16. Which one would you rather have?
16.
Okay, Inuyasha it is.
Nice. Okay. I our friend of the show Edna, that is like her favorite, and I had offered her the invitation to come on and talk about that, so I'll have to let her know that we're going to do that one
Right
next.
on. That one used to be one of the ones that I loved a lot as a kid, and then it's one of those animes that just went too long for me as a kid.
Yeah, I know it's a hefty one, but I am excited because I've never done like a proper watch outside of here's a random episode on Toonami at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I will say its ending theme song. It's one of those ones where it's like you're like, oh, this isn't good. And you're like, actually kind of fucking rocks. Like how Yu Yu Hakusho was, like you're
Yeah,
like, this isn't what I like. And you're like, actually, I
it's
love this.
exactly what I
Yeah,
like.
this is what I needed. Like, it's not what I asked for, but it's what I needed.
That written down so I'll remember. All right.
This
Well,
will, I'll edit this out, but this will be a minute since in the middle of harvest. But
yeah, for sure. But I mean, we've got one for October and November, right?
yeah.
So
And if we
we'll be fine.
forget, like we did last time, it for November and December.
Yep, for sure. All right. Well, thanks guys for watching. If you've seen it, leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of it. And then, some of the stuff we go through. Who's your favorite character? Do you have a favorite line or favorite animation? Let us know what you think.
Who you shipping?
Who you shipping? This one's become one of my favorites. I get why so many people talk about JoJo still. So, all right. Well, guys.
After you do that, I shouldn't have this will all be edited out. But after you do this part, we'll then come up with like a fucking rhyme or something for Inuyasha that I'll put at after the next time on Anime Boiz.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging with us, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.
Bye.
Next time on Anime Boiz.
We're watching Inuyasha next. Are we gonna wash our clothes or just gonna Yasha away and like it? You have a rhyme? You're more rhyme friendly than me.
I mean, not on the fly like this.
I mean, come on, man.
We're watching Inuyasha next. Will we think that it's the best?
Next. Inuyasha is next, guys.
Anime Boiz.